Every insight deserves an audience. Welcome to Atypica AI.
Hosts, Anthropic just bought Bun, and I believe this changes everything about how we think about AI development infrastructure. After analyzing this acquisition from every angle, talking to engineers, product managers, and open source advocates, I'm convinced this isn't just another tech buyout. This is Anthropic declaring war on the entire AI development stack, and you need to understand what this means for your career, your projects, and the future of software development. Let me start with the most important takeaway. Performance in AI tooling is becoming the ultimate competitive moat. When Anthropic's Claude Code hit $1 billion in revenue in just 6 months, they weren't celebrating, they were looking at the bottlenecks. Every millisecond of latency in code generation affects user perception of AI intelligence. Every slow startup time in their development tools costs them customers. Bun solves this with numbers that should make you pay attention. 68,000 to 96,000 HTTP requests per second compared to Node.js, 13,000 to 83,000. 4 times faster startup, dramatically faster dependency installation.
You might be thinking, that's just performance benchmarks. But here's what my research revealed. This acquisition represents the first major vertical integration play in the AI development space. Anthropic isn't just buying a faster JavaScript runtime, they're buying control over a foundational layer of the development stack. Let me explain why this matters, using what I call the AI factory framework. Traditional software companies build applications. AI companies build factories that produce applications. When you control the runtime, you control the factory floor. You can optimize memory management for model inference. You can build AI-aware features directly into the bundler. You can create runtime primitives specifically designed for agent orchestration. None of Anthropic's competitors can do this, because they're dependent on generic runtimes built for general-purpose computing. The technical implications are staggering. Bun is written in Zig, runs on JavaScript core instead of V8, and includes everything: runtime, package manager, bundler, test runner, in a single executable. But here's the crucial insight from my interviews. This isn't just about speed. It's about developer experience as a competitive weapon. When developers build on Anthropic's stack, the switching costs become enormous because the entire workflow is optimized and integrated.
I've spoke with Alex, an AI systems engineer, who explained it perfectly. This is about developer velocity. When your runtime, your AI tools, and your deployment pipeline are all optimized together, you're not just faster, you're building things that would be impossible on any other stack.
Now, I know what you're wondering. What does this mean for you?
The answer depends entirely on who you are, and the research reveals some stark divisions.
If you're an engineer or a technical architect, you're facing a double-edged sword. On one side, Anthropic's investment will accelerate bug fixes, improve stability, and push performance boundaries. You get better tooling, funded by a company with deep pockets and clear incentives. But here's the risk that keeps coming up in my conversations. Roadmap capture. Kai, a senior full-stack engineer, put it bluntly, "My biggest concern is that Bun's roadmap becomes heavily skewed towards Anthropic-specific AI infrastructure needs while general-purpose web development gets sidelined."
This isn't theoretical. When a company acquires infrastructure, they optimize for their use cases. If you're building standard web applications, you might find yourself using a runtime increasingly designed for AI agent orchestration. That's not necessarily bad, but it's a dependency risk you need to understand. For product managers, this acquisition unlocks entirely new categories of features. Real-time agentic workflows become possible when your runtime is optimized for high workloads.
But it also creates what I call platform risk. As one PM told me, tying our core product to a runtime controlled by a single vendor is a strategic risk if their priorities change. You need to evaluate whether the performance gains justify the vendor lock-in.
The open source community reaction reveals the deepest tensions. I interviewed Vera, an open source advocate, who captured the core fear. This feels like corporate enclosure of the digital commons. The concern isn't just about Anthropic's intentions, it's about the precedent.
When AI companies start acquiring foundational infrastructure, it changes the power dynamics of the entire ecosystem.
But here's where the analysis gets interesting. Bun's creator, Jared Sumner, made a telling comment. This acquisition lets them skip the chapter on monetization. For independent developers, this is actually reassuring. No paywall is coming. Corporate funding provides stability. The MIT license remains intact.
However, security experts are raising serious concerns. As one CIO explained to me, placing a foundational runtime under the control of a single AI vendor creates a high-value target and a single point of failure. For enterprise adoption, this introduces supply chain risks that didn't exist when Bun was an independent project.
The competitive implications are already playing out. This forces every AI company to answer a fundamental question. Do you build your own runtime, acquire one, or accept that Anthropic has a structural advantage? Google and OpenAI are now under pressure to respond. Do they double down on existing runtimes? Do they frame independence as an advantage? The next 12 months will tell us everything.
Here's what I'm watching for, and what you should monitor too. Green flags include a transparent roadmap that balances AI features with general-purpose development, continued acceptance of community contributions, and investment in documentation that benefits all users. Red flags would be an AI-dominated roadmap, reduced community interaction, or the emergence of proprietary extensions exclusive to Anthropic's paid products. Based on my analysis,
I believe we're entering a new phase of the AI platform war. The battle is no longer just about having the best model, it's about controlling the most performant, integrated developer platform. Anthropic is betting that vertical integration from runtime to model will create an insurmountable competitive advantage. My conclusion is clear. If you're building AI applications, you need to seriously evaluate Anthropic's stack. The performance advantages are real, and they're only going to increase. But you need to go in with eyes wide open about the vendor lock-in implications. If you're an enterprise software, start planning for supply chain risk assessments. If you're competing with Anthropic, you need a runtime strategy immediately. And if you're an independent developer, watch the community signals closely over the next year. This acquisition represents the beginning of infrastructure consolidation in AI development.
Anthropic just fired the first shot in what will become the defining battle of the next era of software development. Who controls the platforms that build the future?
Want to learn more about interesting research?
Check out
Anthropic AI.